The signs are up, the campaigns have started. It's election time at Queen's. The big issue to be decided is who will run the AMS next year. There are two teams running to try to take over the student government, and there are more than a few similarities in their platforms. The first team has Colleen Kennedy running for AMS president, Mike Perry running for vice president of University Affairs, and Matt Boswell running for vice president of operations. They say they've got big plans for next year.
We also want to not make it a caretaker government. We want to be, we want to take steps. We want to improve the QP, expand it. We want to do something with the JDUC space, and we want to make sure that lobbying the government is a really effective means. So
they hope their varied experience will help them fit into their new jobs.
It took last year's executive all summer to learn what they were supposed to do or how the AMS worked, because we all know it's a pretty big bureaucracy and it takes a while to know the ropes. And we believe that as soon as we got in May the 1st, we would hit the ground running and we would get things done in the summer, and it's because we wouldn't have to learn as much as this year's executive did.
As VP for Operations, Matt Boswell would oversee the financial side of the AMS. He's concerned about the high cost of the AMS student interest fee.
I'd like to put some of the student interest fees to referendum and really give students a chance to say, well, we really can't afford this anymore. I think that the key is that really in a time of recession, we have to tighten our belts. And it's unfortunate, but that's the truth of the matter. The AMS is a business.
Town-gown relations are a priority for this team. Mike Perry says he's concerned about proposed bylaws before Kingston City Council that could put a limit on the number of students living in one house.
Because Homecoming and Frosh Week have had such rave reviews this past year that, we aren't really getting our fair share. We're really holding up our end of the bargain, and the City of Kingston is proposing a bylaw like this. They're cutting the snow removal. I was at a town council meeting last week. Surfaces aren't going to be repaved, so we'd really like to make sure that Queen's students, begin to get more of a fair shake from City Hall.
The other team that is running has John Bailey running for AMS president, Liz Mugga vying for VP University Affairs, and Jason Thompson running for VP Operations. They'd also like to see a more accessible student government.
It's one thing to have an open door policy, but I think that you can't just sit there and expect everyone to file in. I think that we have to actively go out and seek individuals, go to the special needs office, put it in their mail out, the applications and how to get involved, go to the International Center and tell them what we have to offer and how it can involve them.
They'd also bring a wealth of experience to their jobs.
I think that the three of us have been involved in things since we first came here. And I think that really proves that we're committed. And since we've been here, we've really put all of our words into action. And I think that that's something that we can really bring. We're not in this to pad a resume. We're not in this to get the, whatever the money is that you get out of the AMS. We're in this because we really want to. We're excited. We have a vision, and we want to take the initiative and run with it.
As VP for Operations, Jason Thompson would like to keep a tab on the AMS's $3.5 million budget. He'd like to cut the fat from it wherever he could.
Well, I think we've got to cut overhead costs in general in the AMS itself. We can certainly perhaps freeze salaries. We can cap expenditures. We can, lower costs in that sense and reduce waste, certainly, not only in the services that we provide, but in the AMS itself.
And Liz Mugga would like to see a standardized DSC evaluation form.
What we have is a really big grab bag of different evaluation forms from all the different faculties through to even almost all they're all different for all the classes. What we'd like to see is a uniform evaluation. And to that end, we would take the uniform evaluation and have them eventually move towards them being published. As it stands, 40% of consideration for tenureship should be on teaching evaluations, and that should come directly from the students. So as soon as those DSC forms are legitimized, then what students think of the quality of teaching will be taken seriously.
Last year's 45% voter turnout was unusually high for a university. By comparison, Carleton's turnout last year was in the single digits. But there are concerns that this year's turnout could suffer due to voter apathy. But as one campaign hopeful told me, you can't complain about the government unless you vote. Remember, the polls close late Friday afternoon. For Studio Q, I'm Michael Wise reporting.